EduTechGuys Radio, radio.edutechguys.com.
The opinions expressed on the site and its programs are those of participants and not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any specific educational entity, sponsor, company, state, or government agency.
Oh, hello, and welcome to this episode of EduTechGuys Radio, brought to you by Southwest Arkansas Education Cooperative and Hope Public Schools, both located in Hope, Arkansas. And we want to thank CDWG for providing some of the equipment that we use on the show. I am one of your hosts, the babbling idiot, David Henderson.
I'm the giggling goofball, Greg Moore.
And I'm the fat ginger, Jeff Madden.
It's one of those shows.
It's going to be a good day. Yeah, welcome to the show. Hey, be sure to check us out on the web, www.edutechguys.com. You can drop down to the bottom of the page and fill out the old comment form and let us know how beautiful we are. Also, check us out on the Twitter at www.twitter.com/edutechguys or at EduTechGuys if you want to catch us on there. Also, right now, we're monitoring the old feed. If you want to send us something out, you can hashtag ETGChat. And we'll pick it up on the feed that's flowing right now from the interwebs. And all that good stuff. And if you want to check us out on Facebook, it's facebook.com/EduTechGuys. Today's show is going to be a fun one.
Jinx.
We have a guest coming in later.
You got a cook.
Once we get a call in, we'll have that guest on the air, and we're just waiting.
Yeah, he said he was going to check on his stuff to see why it wasn't going through. So we may end up trying to call him again here in a second.
We'll see if we can give him a ring-a-ding-ding.
Yes.
Ring-a-ding-ding-ding.
Our guest today is David Geurin, and I certainly apologize if that's not how you say his name. We'll get that straightened out here in a minute.
So we will find out.
Whoa, that was weird.
Everything cool?
It's cool, man.
It's cool.
It's all cool. It's all good.
Man, my hair.
For
those of you out there on the radio land listening, my hair is all pretty.
That's awesome.
It's been one of those. It's been one of those days. You know it. It has been one of those days.
All right, so I don't know. We'll.
There we go.
Wait, there. I think it's connected.
In the nick of time.
Just about the time I was gonna, or maybe not. We have a connection, but we have no audio, or no video, or no nothing.
We've got an icon.
We do have an icon.
So for all of you out there in Radio Land, look at this beautiful icon.
That's right. Here's a picture, ding, of our guest, and it's not happening.
Cool. I think we're connected. We just don't have any audio yet. So, leaving everyone on the line out there, I'll let you monitor that. You can hear it, and I'll talk.
You do that.
Cool. Hey, welcome to the show. Want to welcome you to the springtime with EduTech Guys. Listen, this week we're going to have a great workshop at the Southwest Arkansas Educational Co-op in Hope, Arkansas.
Yes.
It's at
3
o'clock. 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is just an hour workshop. It is covering podcasting in the classroom. So if you want to flip that classroom using podcasts, then you definitely want to come on board with us, and we'll show you what we can do. It'll be an hour. It's a quick overview to give you a good taste of what can come. You can have us out to your school or come back to the co-op for a longer workshop if it's so scheduled. Yeah. And we'll discuss the several ways to podcast using pretty much every platform that you could probably get your hands on at this point in the classroom. The best part is we'll get into a lot of in-depth discussion on what to podcast, why you want to podcast, who you want to podcast, and where you want to podcast. So, also, definitely not any of those you don't want to podcast. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a really good time. You're welcome to show up. It will be on Periscope for those of you who can't make it.
Two of them.
Two of the
Periscopes.
But it will be on Periscope, and we'll drop it out across Periscope. You'll get the link before we hit the show. So, how's the audio sound? Got a good audio feed?
Oh, I don't know. He's been quiet. He's been patiently sitting back, waiting to see.
Waiting for us.
There you go. Waiting for us. So, can you hear us? Okay.
Oh,
we can't hear you. That may be.
I think your mic might be off.
Are you muted?
So we're checking mic levels.
Checking out audio.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we hear you.
I got it.
I had my
We
headphones
checked all that.
Wow, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a button or a radio button or a click or a slider.
That's right. It's like, hey, let me try this. Cool.
It always
That's right.
happens that way.
Awesome, man. All right, cool.
Well, cool. Hey, welcome to the show, and we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. We know you're probably a busy guy, so we don't want to keep you on, too long, but you're welcome to stay as long as you want to. I'm Jeff. I'm way over here in the corner.
I'm David.
David and
This is Greg. And for those of you in Radio Land, we were all just waving.
We're waiting. We can see him. You can't.
so I'll tell you what. We're going to let you introduce yourself to the listening audience.
And been here for about 8 years, and just enjoy what I do, and certainly have enjoyed becoming more connected over the last couple of years through blogging and Twitter and that kind of thing. So I think the education community has grown closer in a sense because of the opportunities to connect online, and certainly digital learning and learning related to digital tools is something that I'm very, very interested in.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
So tell us about your high school there at Bolivar. How many kids, and what's your 1-to-1 ratio? What kind of technology have you guys got going on?
Yeah, we have about 800 students. We are about 20 miles north of Springfield, Missouri. We're a one high school town, small town of 10,000. And this is our first year with 1-to-1. So every student has a Chromebook that they have access to throughout the day, and they can elect to take it home. Not all of our students take them home, but most of them do. And we went with Chromebooks. It felt like that was a good decision for us, and it's really been a good first year. I actually wrote a blog post about kind of a reflection on our first year with 1-to-1 so far, and by and large, very smooth. There's always a few things that are hiccups, but we just want to keep growing from here and start to see the way that we use the devices continue to grow.
Sure. So you mentioned that in your 1-to-1, the students do take them home, correct?
Yeah, most of them do. We have a program where there is a small fee that students pay that is an insurance fee. If they elect to pay the insurance, then they get access to it, at home. And, if they don't, then we have a check-in and check-out program where they just check it in at the end of the day, check it out in the morning, and that seems to be working fairly well. We'd like to get to the point where, every student's taking it home, but that's just kind of where our community was, where we had a committee that was put together to do the planning, and that's kind of where we landed. Every one of these 1-to-1 programs, it seems like, is a little bit different, and you kind of have to make it fit for your culture, your community. What are people comfortable with? And I saw somebody railing against fees, for students, and certainly I can understand that. But in our community, people felt like it would be a positive thing for students to have a little bit of ownership of, just investing a little bit in a $200 device.
Right. Yeah,
I agree.
And then so, since you do have a bunch of students that are taking home, the internet access available in your community, I'm assuming, is viable to provide that access for those students.
Yeah, it's not ideal. We would like to have more. We've done multiple surveys of students, and not everyone has access. Even for some that take it home, some of them don't have in-home internet readily available. Again, one of those things that's a tough issue to solve. There's been some really innovative programs out there where entire towns have provided Wi-Fi, and school districts have put school buses with Wi-Fi on them, parked in the community and things like that. We don't have that. We do have several places in town that have free available Wi-Fi. I wish there were more solutions for some of the ones who maybe it's a little bit of a struggle to be able to afford it. But yeah, we're keeping an eye on that and certainly trying to just be aware of, and our teachers being aware that maybe not all of our students have the access that you and I enjoy really anytime we want.
Right. Well, and I think it's one of the key things that you said there was, even if a student doesn't have access at home, they're still able to take the Chromebook home with them and use the device in what we would call offline mode. I think that's a very key piece, because I think there's still a lot of folks out there that they see a Chromebook as an internet only device, and don't necessarily realize that for maybe not everything, obviously, but for a lot of, especially the core functions, those students can still use those devices even without internet access.
Yeah, there's still definitely some opportunities to be productive without an internet connect. I mean, with the Chromebook is not, like you said, a lot of people think it's just worthless without a connection, but that's just not the case.
Yeah. Can I ask what you guys use for content filtering? Are you using GoGuardian? Is that maybe what you use?
Yeah. We didn't start the year with that. We were just using our network filter, but then we were having some issues with our at-home solution. It was supposed to route back through our servers here at school, and there were just network issues that were a struggle. And so we went with GoGuardian, and we've been very pleased with that. It's awesome.
We have two. In fact, we have two of their guys on the next two shows. They actually reached out to us, so we'll definitely share that. We use Chromebooks for our homebound students, and we found that GoGuardian is excellent, wonderful. I could see using it across the board. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can even set up different levels of access for different groups of students if you want to. So that's really nice. If you want to place some further restrictions, you can do that. Or if you want to give more freedom, you can do that, which is really cool. And
I love the teacher piece that they've added, so the teacher in class can actually lock down that class with a whitelist, or control what's being opened. That's a really nice feature to add for the Chromebooks. Are you using any other third-party software that you guys find really beneficial in integrating technology in your classroom?
We really aren't, other than just the free tools that are readily available out there. We just rely on, there's just so many of them that are free. There's a couple that we've looked at that we would kind of like to have the paid version, but we just haven't put that in the budget. We've just tried to stay as much as we can with what's out there that's free.
Yeah, well, gosh, with Google Apps, there's just so much you can do with Google Apps. I mean, Google Classroom is wonderful, and we find it really, hardcore for what we need also. I had a great question. So I was reading Teaching SuperPowers. So let's get into integration in the classroom, because I know you're all about making teachers better teachers. Do you find this is my 24th year in education, so I've been doing this a long time, and it's funny how they've changed and they've not changed. What's the grasp for your teachers integrating technology and becoming better teachers and dealing with, my favorite thing is 21st century students, because our students have changed. They change every year. So what's the biggest deal you see out there right now?
Yeah, we definitely have to just acknowledge that students are fundamentally different today than they were, 10, 20 years ago. Well, you pick the number. The further back you go, technology has changed their world, and the never-ending access that they have, and there's no doubt. And so, I'm blessed. Our teachers are, they are forward-thinking, and they recognize they have to adjust to the students. They can't expect, every student's going to adjust to them, and we try to just. The things that we do with teachers, we try to do them in a way that hopefully it will, set an example and model what we would like to see done with students. For instance, we just try to make things very personal for our teachers. We don't try to enact things that are one size fits all for them, because we don't really want that to be the case for our students. Today, we were talking about personal learning plans. We used to do professional development plans that were very much related on the school's goals, and you're going to fit your growth and your learning into what we think is important and what we want to do. And of course, there was collaboration around that. But now we've really tried to shift that more toward what are your goals in your classroom? What's going to make the biggest impact on the bottom line, which is student learning? And what do you think is most important for your growth this year? And so teachers did write a plan around that of things that they wanted to learn or grow or a project that they wanted to take on. And we've, had ongoing check-ins throughout the year, but we're going to kind of culminate that on Monday with a time of just sharing. We're going to share out those personal learning plans. And they need to bring some kind of an artifact or a product, something that just kind of is a show and tell.
Sure.
And then we'll use that. So again, we're getting communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, all those things for our teachers and their learning. That's what we're trying to do. And we want and expect that to trickle into the classroom and for our students to be doing the same kinds of things.
So for your day, go through, as the educational leader for your campus, in Missouri, are you guys using a Bloom board or anything along that lines to do classroom observation? Or how do you handle your campus, observing your teachers and helping them grow in the classroom?
Well, that's been kind of a ongoing development too. We don't have a system. A lot of our districts in Missouri do have kind of a pre-developed program that they use. Here in Bolivar, we don't. We have. There was a district effort to create our kind of our model of teacher evaluation and support and growth and all that. And so, for me, basically what I do to track that is whenever I do an observation, then I actually email feedback back to the teacher, and then I just record all of that into a Google form, and so it's recorded on sheets. So that's how. It's very simple. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah, but it works.
Things like that. And the type of feedback we give, there's not a single checkbox. There's not, it's very just authentic feedback about that particular visit to the classroom, and just trying to have a conversation. And I've tried and I've failed. I've got to admit, fail forward. But my goal is that every one of those observations, after that email goes out, within 24 hours, I'll touch base and have a face-to-face conversation with that. That doesn't always happen. That's my best goal. Right. I think that's the most powerful piece, really. But I haven't always been able to do that.
But that's a hard thing for an administrator to do.
Absolutely.
It's because you're doing everything. People don't realize how hard it is to be a captain of a ship. Sometimes we can easily. Yes,
that's right.
It's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's you can go a million different ways each day with the things that you have to spend your time on. So it's challenging, but it keeps it interesting, and it's fun work.
So I'm going to circle around. So. Your teachers, are they using Chromebooks as their main device, or do they use a Mac or a Windows machine?
They still have desktop computers that are connected like to our, we have an overhead projector in every classroom. Some of them have smart boards, but a lot of them don't. And we did get, one of the things we did on one-to-one though, is every teacher got a Chromebook a semester before the students did, the exact same type of device that the students had. That way they could play with it, begin to learn it. We didn't have a real intensive professional development effort in advance. I'm not sure if that's the best way to say it, though. It was more organic, and it just kind of happened with a lot of sharing among our staff. We did some tech cafes after school where you could come in and have some snacks and kind of learn together. But there wasn't this, module 1, you're going to learn this, module 2. We tried to make that a little more customized. Like, here's the topic. If you don't know a lot about this, then come and learn. And really, it's been amazing to me, and our tech director and I, we talk about this, just how proficient our teachers have become really by sharing with each other, and just the desire to learn and want to get better. Tech training is so difficult because as soon as you prepare something, you've got people at all different levels, and someone feels like you're wasting their time. Somebody else feels like that this is too advanced, you're going too fast. And it works so much better when it's problem based. Like, I'm having an issue. Can you help me learn how to do this? Or, we're really teaching people how to do the research and learn for themselves too. And, that we can, when I have a problem, I'm sure you guys are the same. I usually can solve it pretty quickly with the Google search.
With Google,
Right? Yes.
Exactly.
You
And it's
know,
funny how the lay people don't realize that. We say, "Have you Googled it?"
Right.
Exactly.
Let me Google that
Yeah,
for you.
or a
Right.
tutorial. It's like they think we're brilliant, like we have all the answers
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know a lot of things, but I can usually find out pretty quickly with just a little bit of research.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I think and I think one of the things, not just students, we hear students a lot, talking to students a lot about, teaching them how to use Google, how to search. And the same thing definitely applies for adult learners. Adults. I'm gonna pick on my wife because she's not here, and I'll deal with it later. But she'll deal with me later, I guess.
Exactly.
But
Ladies and
that's one of her
gentlemen,
biggest complaints is, she'll be looking for something and she'll search for 20 minutes and she can't find anything. And I'll say, well, what are you looking for? And she'll tell me what she's looking for, and I'll key it in, and it 2 hits later, and I've got exactly what she was looking for. She's like, how did you do this? Because you have to know how to search.
Right,
and so
exactly.
that's one of the things I've been working with her and other, adult learners is teaching how to search, and that's a
even
big part of it.
Using the advanced features on Google search is a good thing for teachers and kids to know. And I use Twitter advanced search a lot. I mean, you can find a lot of interesting stuff on Twitter by you can narrow your results so well that I think that's really cool. And a lot of people I think aren't aware that you don't just have to rely on a stream of stuff on Twitter. You can go and you can narrow it down and find all kinds of interesting things on a particular topic, drill down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even sure a lot of people are aware that you can search Twitter.
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah. They think it's just a stream of stuff, and you just whatever you happen to open up, your account, and there it is. That's just not the thing.
That's right. Exactly.
I think it's interesting. I think most schools could get away with some great after-school tech cafes teaching teachers and kids how to use Google, and learning to really search like a pro. Some colleges have that as entire semester and year-long courses, so I can see it being very handy. I was going to ask. So your integration of technology, and see, people would think that that's a basic level, but I could see the kids being real excited about, if anybody's Googling, it's the kids.
Right.
And, so has it made learning more important to the kids? I don't know if that's the words I'm looking for. Do you understand what I'm saying? Since the kids have this technology, it's funny how chemistry comes a little more alive when you have this right in front of you, and how Shakespeare comes a little more alive when we're talking about Shakespeare, but every kid can sit there and Google the Globe Theater and all this great information. Have you seen that make kind of learning irresistible? I think that might have. I think I read that somewhere. Anyway.
Yeah, and I did have a blog post not too long ago about making learning irresistible.
Oh, well, that's why I read it.
and there were several things which I wish that all that was happening all the time at our school, but just like everybody else, we're just on a place in the process, and we're trying to grow because we have students that are very engaged, and we have some that are somewhat disengaged too. But overall, I think we're moving in positive directions with that. And the technology for some is a huge difference maker. We've definitely, from the feedback we've gotten and also from the just observations that I've made and just the conversations with teachers, know that for some students, they really feel empowered by having the device and using the device for learning. Others, not so much. And, we know that for success in the world today, and especially as we continue to move forward in digital is going to be just such an important part of life, that you're really at a disadvantage if you're not able to use digital tools for improving whatever, yourself, your family, your network, your community. I always like to tell people I teach some adjunct classes. And one of the classes that I teach is for Liberty University, which is on the East Coast. Well, how do you get a job with, Liberty University when it's in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and you're in, Bolivar, Missouri? Well, it was a Twitter connection. You know, it's because of my network. It was because somebody knew somebody and reached out, and this person has some expertise and he could probably teach that class. So the network is powerful, and some of the things that we're maybe focused on are yesterday, and we need to focus on the things that are today and be thinking towards tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's how we met, through Twitter. And then I reached out because I follow a lot of educators, and now I have a new educational friend, from South Arkansas all the way to Missouri. It's not a long way, but, it's still, it's right down the road.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that's something that a lot of school districts are missing at this point. It's hard for them to grasp the tech integration, not in the classroom, but the tech integration in the lives of students. I think that's the big deal. It's not about these great tools as much as it is about how am I going to use them in everyday life. And I see that browsing your blog, I see that you do talk about that a lot, actually. I was going to ask you, tell us what you have coming up. You have anything big you want to share? Or are you going to be presenting anywhere? Are you going to be doing, what's your summer like? That's educational.
I haven't done a lot of presenting, and that's something that I would like, other than just in our district and stretched pretty thin, but I do have something coming up in Springdale, Arkansas in June. There's the Innovation Institute. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. Innovation Institute, I think it's a 2-day event there in Springdale, and I'm going to present at that on both days.
Awesome.
Looks like a great event. Heard about it. I'm going to talk about really equipping teachers for leadership as change leaders, and kind of some of the things we've done and some of my philosophy on really trying to empower teachers to drive change, because they are in such a unique position that I can't, without the help of teachers, we don't move forward. It's all their efforts, their mindset. I'm here to help inspire and challenge them, and to provide air support, to make it happen, to say yes, to break down the barriers. But we really need to have teachers in a position of being leaders. And so I'm gonna share some things on that, and our digital transformation and how teachers have helped to drive that forward will certainly be a part of that as well. So I'm excited about, we've got an event coming up here in Springfield, Missouri, though, that is going to have George Kouros and Will Richardson are both going to be at that event in, I think it's early June. So I'm not planning on presenting at that, but I'm looking forward to seeing them. And then I'm hoping to attend the Model Schools Conference down in Orlando that's in late June, and Eric Schenninger and several others are going to be there. So I enjoy networking and trying to get to know, some of those just really thought leaders. They're really inspiring to me, and looking forward to those events coming up.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I have to say, your faculty, if they don't already realize, which they probably do, have got a great person leading the ship there, because you're definitely you got your thumb on the pulse of what's happening in education, because this sounds like exactly, you're right on top of everything. It's what we know, not like we're experts, but
well, and one of the things that I like, and as Jeff said, we've been looking over some of the stuff that you've posted and some of the things that you talk about, and one of the things that really stands out when looking at empowering the teachers, that is, I don't know if you realize how out of the box this particular statement is, but one of the things that you say is have the courage to be different. That is generally not the way administrators talk to their, to their teachers. Seriously, it's, we're going to do this cookie cutter mold, or maybe not quite cookie cutter, but we're all going to be cookies. We might not be cut the same way, but we're all going to be cookies, and I just, it's very cool. It's very refreshing. It really is.
Well, I'm comfortable with ambiguity, with a little bit of fuzziness, and I think that has its benefits and it has its drawbacks too. I'm fortunate I have a lot of people around me that are really great at some of the details and procedure. Some of the things you still have to have in an organization. It can't all be. We got to have everybody somewhat moving in a similar direction. Right. That's part of vision and growth. But yeah, I do want people to be empowered to be themselves and to find really what it is that makes them strong, and makes them able to be the most successful. And everything I see about leadership, we don't all do it, but is really about, helping other people achieve their goals, not getting you to help me achieve my goals.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and you don't necessarily see that a lot. We'll just put it out there. I mean, really, that's just that's not necessarily the mentality you see at some places. So that's very cool. I mean, it's
fair enough. Yeah.
Well, I'm the taskmaster here, so I have to do this on time.
He's the whip guy.
I want to thank you. I'm glad I reached out, and I'm glad we got to meet each other. And we'll definitely have you back on the show. I'll reach out. We'll keep up with us at EduTechGuys on the Twitter.
Love it. Yeah, you guys appreciate what you do, and this is awesome. I'm thrilled to be here today. It's been a lot of fun, so you've got me thinking.
Awesome.
Actually, kind of scary, really.
Well, this will be on the podcast, which will come up later this evening. You can get it on iTunes and all that good stuff. You can find Mr. Geurin at David Geurin, DavidGeurin, on Twitter. You can also check him on the web at www.davidgeurin.com. Want to thanks again from Bolivar, Missouri. Why would I say Mississippi, Missouri? From Bolivar, Missouri. That's a little different. It's a little farther to the southeast.
We both have big casinos, though. So.
Oh, do you guys have casinos too? I didn't know that. So see, now I know.
We've got them in St. Louis and Kansas City. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys are way up there. Cool. Thanks for coming, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
You bet.
Hey, you're listening to EduTechGuys, coming to you live from Southwest Arkansas Educational Co-op in Hope, Arkansas. We're going to drop out and catch some music real quick from one of our favorite guys while we take a quick break. Nick C. with Completely Yours. Stay tuned. EduTechGuys Radio.
My mind, I think a bright moonlight and a glass of wine and slow dancing on the beach to our favorite song. And if nobody's looking, we can get it on. But I know we have just begun, and I'm glad that we can give it a chance. 'Cause ain't no better feeling now than falling in love. My heart is like a stone. My heart is not my own. I'm completely yours. I'm completely yours. I'm completely yours. I'm completely yours. When you look at me, the way my hair stands up when I hear you speak, the way my legs turn rubber when you love me down. I said, hey, little lover, can you hear me now? Well, I know we have just begun, and I'm glad that we can give it a chance. falling in love. My heart is not my own. It's sinking like a stone. I'm completely yours. 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 I'm completely yours.
Blake Montgomery is a new young lawyer in Hope. He's located in the Bancorp South building at 200 South Elm in downtown Hope. Blake is a Hope native and a graduate of the University of Arkansas. He is a general practice attorney providing solutions for legal needs. Blake offers assistance with contracts, real estate transactions, and other commercial issues. He can assist individuals with a will and/or estate planning. Blake is proud to serve the citizens of Southwest Arkansas. Phone Blake at 777-6700. That's 777-6700. Blake Montgomery, attorney at law in the Bancorp South building in downtown Hope.
When your eyes they gaze upon me, and your silhouette is near, all I will ask of you is to love me down, 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 with your mercy all around, and when your poetry is clear, all I will ask of you is to love me now, now, now. Oh, I love you more than words can say. Oh, I ain't throwing that word, no. Just love me, just love me, just love like you want to. Just love me, just love like only you know to. I could bathe out in your love, like the summer's warm sunlight. And all I will ask of you is to hold me tight. With your gentle arms around me, like whisper winds at mine. Just have to ask of you to go all night, night, night. Oh, I love you more than words can say. Oh, I ain't throwing that word, no. Just love me, just love me, just love like you want to.
That is Nick C. with Just Love Me, and before that, Completely Yours. Here on EduTechGuys Radio. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, sorry that was a long break there, but we were just getting some stuff taken care of, and we had to move the cows from the south pasture to the north pasture. So it takes a little time. I want to thank David Geurin for coming on the show. Great principal from Bolivar, Missouri. I don't know, for some reason Mississippi wants, but it's Missouri. Really great leader there, very progressive thinker, and really nice to have him on the show. You can check him out on Twitter at David Geurin. That would be DavidGeurin, and also the same for his blog, davidgeurin.com. Hey, so I got a little time here before we go, and we were talking about topics, because we always just have this plethora of topics in our list to talk about. And
so much bouncing around, it's hard to pick the 1-2 things we want to talk about.
The one that I mentioned was virtual reality.
Yeah.
VR has just, Oculus Rift started the whole thing. Kind of, I mean, not maybe started it, but, they were the ones
They were the big one.
Oculus Rift.
Right, exactly.
And it's kind of sad, they still haven't shipped all of their headsets.
No, well, as a matter of fact, they had a parts delay, and so basically what they told everybody who pre-ordered, they said, look, as soon as we get the parts in and we get yours built, we will ship it to you next day for nothing or whatever, expedited shipping or however they're doing it.
Someone I follow on Instagram had posted a picture of them with an iPad right next to their face and going, well, until my Oculus Rift comes in, I'm just making do.
Well, and I think that, to me, the key is, they've been doing, the ethereal they have been making VR in one form or fashion for quite a while. I mean, technically, you've got Google Cardboard, you have stuff, but Oculus Rift was really the first brand to come out and say, not only are we going to do the whole VR thing, but we're actually it's going to be the controller. This is how you actually interact with it.
They actually have the interactive pieces to it.
And since then, and really even before Oculus Rift released theirs, several other companies jumped out there and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's ours, and here's
exactly.
Samsung and some of the other folks that are."
Now you got the HTC Vive, that's Steam partnered with, and then you've got the PlayStation. I forget what the PlayStation calls their VR headset, but they've got one.
Wally
headset.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll Google that and we'll get the real answer.
Yeah, it's really
probably something innocuous like PlayStation VR.
It probably is.
And a lot of discussions come up.
It's called PlayStation VR. Of course it is, because that's why we couldn't think of it.
It's been
Can't be that simple.
A lot of discussion about how are they going to use it in education. It's funny. Yesterday David and I were doing a Google search for some stuff, and we came up with a great photo from it looked like the 50s. It was a black and white photo of students in these little look like bumper car things that had steering wheels, and it was a driving class, and you were in this tiny little one-seater bumper car with and it had all the gears, and that's how they were teaching class. It makes me think that the technology in education has always been quite hilarious. But I guess in something like Oculus Rift, where you actually have the controllers too, you could put on that and learn lots of stuff. I mean, you could learn to, do surgery, or you could learn to, tie a knot, or I don't know. there's lots of stuff you can learn. Mm-hmm. Just the glasses itself, I don't know. I mean, I can't see a use of it except for.
I think it's going to be a lot like the. If it does turn out to be something that's educationally viable, it'll be a lot like the iPad, where it's like whenever it was first released, everybody's like, well, that's a giant iPod Touch. You can't do anything with that. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, everything just exploded, and you've got all these potential use cases for it.
Well, and I mean, you already have some of that. Take, for instance, the new ViewMaster VR, right? It's not a controller, but I know. Wait, like what I had as a kid? Well, yeah, but on steroids without the side effects. But you look at what they've done in terms of especially their expedition packages, where they have an entire immersive 3D environment where you're standing basically /almost under the Eiffel Tower. And so it's immersive in that it is as you look around, you can move around, and as you spin, you see in 3D as if you were actually standing there. Right. So I could see where and they have another one where it's you're in like African safari or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So I could see that as a way to extend learning. As students are learning about, I'm thinking about in my wife's class right now. She teaches second grade, and they're learning. They just did a couple of weeks ago. They did sharks, and this week or last week, I guess it was, they were doing different frogs, and so they're studying all these different animals. And so I could see where if you had some kind of a VR headset, you could actually experience in 3D what those different animals look like, and you could rotate them around. And I don't know, I think it's very cool. I mean, then you go. Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Exactly. Now you get into that.
I think it's interesting. I've never really. I've played with cardboard. Which. It's not as
that is the 99-cent entry level model of
So it's and it wasn't strapped to my head, so I didn't have freedom of movement to go, wow, I'm looking around and everything's here.
Right. So
I can't really say that I've done VR. So I would not know. But when I think about it, and I think about it's this fully immersive goggle. Mm-hmm. So that you're seeing nothing. Your eyes are the sensory impact is you're there.
Yes.
I mean, that's my understanding of that's the difference is that there's no light leak. There's nothing. You're in this thing and your brain's going, you're here.
Right.
So that would probably be, you're right. That would be to view the Louvre and never have to go there. Mm-hmm. And, to visit all these places, the Great Pyramids of Giza, and not ever have to leave your living room.
Right. And it's not, to me anyway, it's not an issue of not having to leave your living room to go there. It's
being able
to. How many students many students in the scheme of things would even be able to go see the actual pyramids or go see the Eiffel Tower or the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or for that matter, how many students, we're here in Arkansas, so how many students are actually going to get to go to, see the St. Louis Arch, which, for a lot of folks, it's, that's a few hours away. That's not bad. But really, there's a lot of students that's all they've ever seen are pictures or videos, so to get them kind of immersed in that be very, very cool.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's, and like Greg said, right now it's still very young. Oh, yeah. So, a lot of the things, and very much like the iPad, a lot of it's game related, right? Let's see what kind of games we can do and what can we do with this in terms of games. Right. And I think the education part will continue to grow as people start to figure out what they can and can't. And I think also as the devices get better. I watched, and I can't remember who now, but I was watching, Jacksepticeye or somebody, and they had I think it was the HTC, and it's got the handheld controllers. I think. The little ring things, and he was using the rings. That becomes your hands,
right?
And so he was picking stuff up and manipulating, and it's still very clunky. Okay. Now, think about that, right?
Right, exactly.
We're complaining about how clunky it is to be wearing an entire virtual reality, headset with these controllers that I'm actually manipulating this virtual world, and it's a little clunky. Well, duh,
Right. Think about HoloLens. I mean, that one to me is just Star Trek.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's really I would say that's next step, but that step's already basically here. So it's like, holy cow, it's already at the point of Star Trek.
It's funny how different individuals have approached VR in different ways. You've got the HTC Vive, which has got little sensors that's got two little laser emitters in the room for positional tracking. And then you've got positional tracking on the PlayStation and the
Xbox.
The
Rift?
Yes, thank you. The Oculus Rift.
Sure.
You forget the biggest name in the room. Those are both optical tracking. They've got cameras that handle the tracking. It's interesting to see all these different solutions, and even the input with different controllers and that sort of thing. With the Oculus Rift, you've got these two little controllers. They got rings on them that have actual handheld. It tracks via lasers. It's got little sensors on them. And then, of course, the PlayStation, it's got the two wands that have been on for PlayStation for forever. They've got the little balls.
The little ball on the end.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the Oculus Rift, it's got currently it's just got an Xbox controller.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting to see. We're at the point now where everything's just been introduced, and we've got all these different options, and it's going to take a while before it narrows down. And it's like, okay, this is the way, and then everybody can build to that one way, and that's when we'll start to see.
Who's going to be the VHS?
I was just going to say the same thing. I was just going to say, who's the Betamax, who's the VHS? Because that's how old Jeff and I are.
Hey, I watched Betamax movies whenever I was growing up.
You know, I just want to bring up the virtual reality because I really think that's. You know, it seems like the last 2 months it's just gone boom.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. Everybody's
Yes.
headsets released at around the same time. Yeah,
It's just a big deal.
games.
The issue I have is cost, which of course anything new is going to cost you a fortune, and that's that's kind of and in some some circles they say $399 to $699. That's not bad for All in all, though, it's a screen with a controller, so until it gets down,
Right, exactly. Especially considering the fact that you've got to have something to plug that screen
plug it into.
controller
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
That's a whole other cost.
But it's interesting. You're right. The cost. I think the cost we'll see in VR like we are everything else. It'll start to drop pretty seriously over the next 6 to 12 months, 6 months to a year. I mean, take a look at it now. You can buy a 4K 55-inch to 65-inch television for less than $2,000.
Yeah.
And in some markets, you can buy, depending on what you're looking for, a 4K television for less than $1,000.
Right.
So around the 50 to 55-inch,
Yeah,
which is a massive television.
Exactly. And then like 2 years ago, you would have been like, you know,
$2,000
you would have lost your house trying
Yeah.
to buy a 4K television.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 4K for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
The I was just reading a comment here from the good doc. He said, "I'm waiting for the Laserdisc guy." Now, Greg has a Laserdisc story. We won't ask him to go into it, but he has a Laserdisc story. But I'd also put it on the topic that it's just Twitter. I don't think people understand the power of Twitter, and we were talking about Twitter search. And I just want to throw out TweetDeck. If you're using Twitter and you're trying to get hardcore into it, I know a lot of educators do Twitter chats.
Yes.
And so they're using the Twitter app to try to follow a hashtag and keep up with the chat. That's next to impossible. It makes it very hard. TweetDeck.twitter.com is owned by Twitter. The cool part about it is it gives you the ability to add columns depending on what you're looking for. So you can add a search column where you're just searching. And the advanced search is amazing. You can search topics. You can just the same way you do Google. You can put stuff in quotations. It'll find tweets with blah, blah, blah. Notifications, messages, mentions. So if you're looking for a certain person that was mentioned in a comment, a tweet, activity, but the big one is hashtags. So underneath search, you can put a hashtag. So if you're following, Moed Chat, then you can put in that hashtag, create a column, and then everything is going to pop up into that column so you can keep up with it.
Well, and what's nice about the whole column thing is because you can have multiple columns, if you're participating in multiple ed chats that are happening all at the same time, you just create a column for each of those that's going on, and you watch it, and then you participate as you want to. Oh, yep, I want to reply to this. Oh, yep, I want to reply to that.
Yeah. And
TweetDeck's very cool.
The cool part about that is you can put multiple hashtags in one column. So if you wanted to see everything that said EdTech, Education, EduTech, you could put them all in one column, and they're all going to feed into there. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that using TweetDeck to be hardcore is hardcore.
Hardcore.
But now we get to jump to one of our favorite parts of the show.
Google Tip of the Week.
Today's Google Tip of the Week comes from the resident guy wearer of hats, Sir Greg Moore Esquire.
So today's Google App Tip of the Week is Google has brought reminders to the calendar application on the web. They had previously released reminders for iOS devices and Android devices where you could be in the calendar and you could create a reminder for something that wasn't locked to a specific day. I know in the tech department I use reminders all the time because I've always got a running to-do list of things that are not necessarily tied to being done at any specific hour. So it doesn't really fit to the whole calendar methodology where I have a block of time that it has to be done by. Now you can create reminders in Google Calendar on the web by just creating what's like a normal calendar event, and then at the top of the pop-up window you set reminder, and then it becomes a reminder that remains free of a specific time, or you can assign it a time. If you miss it, it goes to the top of the calendar and remains there for continuing days down the road. So you've always got that list of reminders that haven't been done. And it's also integrated into Google Inbox and Google Keep. So anywhere you add a reminder in any of those products, it all pops up in Calendar.
So basically, it will nag you until you finally take care of it.
If I don't have the nags, I forget stuff. I gotta have some nags.
Gotta have the horses.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great animal.
Man, that is cool.
I'm looking forward to using it. Yep. Cool. Hey, it's been a great show. Anybody got anything they want to add?
I think that's it.
It's got awfully quiet in here.
It did. Everybody's
I would like to add 4 and 3.
So 9.
And that's why we're the EduTech guys and not just the education.
We're not the
math.
We're not the EduMath guys.
It's going to get quite a second while we look up on the calculator on our phone. So it's 8. No, wait. Cool. Hey, listen.
Please. You've got that crazy processor rounding issue.
That's what it is. Hey, listen, don't forget, this Friday at 3 o'clock at the Southwest Arkansas Arts Council, Southwest Arkansas Educational Cooperative, David and I will be doing a workshop on podcasting from the classroom. Be sure to check it out on the Twitter. We'll put up the Periscope link, so if you'd like to watch it and can't make it down to Hope, Arkansas, then, hey, tough for you. If
hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. If you could make it here, if you're listening to the podcast,
you can make it anywhere.
You can go to the Southwest Arkansas Educational Cooperative's website.
Yeah.
Click on the shoebox and sign up. It is free, and unless you're not in this educational cooperative, and then it's going to cost you $742.
That's right. This is
but
a
we're giving a discount
so
for now for $742,000. So
Payable in cash whenever you arrive. Just hand it to David.
No, I don't remember there being a charge for it.
I don't think there's a charge.
I don't know if there is.
It's just an hour quick workshop giving you an overview of what you can do and what can happen and all the kind of good stuff you can do. Who, what, when, why, and where with podcasts in the classroom.
Yeah.
Be sure to check us out on the web, www.edutechguys.com. Drop down the bottom of the page. There's a comment area. You're welcome to send us a comment. On Twitter, it's at EduTechGuys. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/EduTechGuys. On Instagram, I forgot. We have an Instagram account.
Oh, I forgot.
On Instagram, it's at EduTechGuys. We're pretty lucky that there's just not a lot of EduTech guys out
Basically, if you Google EduTechGuys,
we're going to
that's
come
us.
up. Yeah. So, listen, I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm Greg Moore.
And I'm David Henderson.
And you've been listening to the lovely sounds of Jeff forgot to load up the stupid outro music again because he's sitting there jabbing the whole time, running his jaw. I apologize. I do this every time.
We put so much on you as the producer.
No, we don't. I put this on myself. You guys will probably do a 10 times better job than I do. Listen, you're listening to I'm Jeff Madlock.
We did this already.
I want to do it again.
Okay.
Don't argue with me.
All right.
This is the little bit of OCD that I have.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm Greg Moore.
I'm David Henderson. We'll see you next time. You've been listening to EduTech Guys Radio. Radio.edutechguys.com.
The opinions expressed on the site and its programs are those of participants and not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any specific educational entity, sponsor, company, state, or government agency.